Hello and welcome to the yard. This 300,000 mile Rover 600 with a lot more than its fair share of patina. In fact, you could say it's got the monopoly on scabby bits. Generally speaking, a car like this is more likely to be desired with lovely paint everywhere, no rust and low mileage. So you'd imagine one with 300,000 miles and every panel with either paint missing, repairs, rust to be worth See what I did there? I didn't even finish the sentence. That's how much this car is probably worth. That just makes it more charming. It's a real car that's had a real life, and as I'll show you afterwards, has been to some rather interesting places. A car like this is similar to a rescue dog with only 3 legs. That's how I ended up with this. This was a proper shed when I first got it, but I've gone and spoilt it by making it interesting, by making it precious. So I think this is a real car for a real world with a real honest nature about it. 300,000 miles. And normally you consider a third of that to be more than enough. But it's testament to how much nonsense we believe about mileage. Why are people so hung up on low mileage cars? They never seem to work that well for a start, but I bet this one does. On closer inspection, this 620 does have a reasonably tidy boot. The bumper's got a bit of damage on it there. The electric aerial doesn't retract. It's had a major repair on the back of here that hasn't been finished off properly. We have some potential for rust coming through there, unfortunately. And yeah, that door, quite a bit of rust, a few dents, quite a bit of lack appeal, more lack appeal. Bonnet also crazing a bit, and of course the rusty nostrils around the grille don't look fantastic. Notice also that the brown metal has leaked onto the plastic bumper, giving this bumper the rusty effect. That's how they do it. That's how you achieve rat look, by having metal panels so rusty that it stains the plastic parts. It's real. This wing looks okay actually. Well, it did until I noticed that it's been repainted. That door's okay, that door's okay, and this side as well has also had quite a big repair job done on it. You see, the trouble is they do rot just around there. Like many cars, I guess, you know, there are certain parts that are prone to going rusty, and Rover always have this issue. They always like to rust around the rear arches. Other than that though, the 600 doesn't exactly suffer with rot a great deal. You know, the floor pans are always okay, and even the wings don't tend to be that bad. It's just arches and nostrils. Right, it seems like I have kind of under-exaggerated the rust on this car somewhat, because this particular car has had the sills repaired, it's had bits of the chassis rail, it's had bits of the inner wing as well. Anywhere that a Rover 600 will rot, this one's managed to do it. So coming back to this question again, why is this car still on the road? Whilst I am scrutinising the condition of this car, I may as well mention that the roof's okay, and so is the glass. There are no dents on the glass, but that's just the outside. What about the inside? What does a Rover 600 with 300,000 miles look like on the inside? Actually, it's 302,000 miles. And the thing to report is that actually it could do with a bit of a clean-up, but the seat, the driver's seat that's been sat on all of this time hasn't really worn out. There's a bit of foam starting to split there, and you can start to feel the frame a bit. That's respectable, I'd say. You wouldn't expect it to be perfect inside, would you? So, in fact, if this driver's seat was like a new seat, I'd start to question the authenticity of the mileage. That's an interesting thought, isn't it? Imagine that. Where you have many cars knocking about that have false mileages, have much higher mileages than what they claim. Maybe some cars do the opposite, where they pretend to have had 302,000 miles, but have only really got about 90,000, just so they can boast about how hard wearing they are. Let's see if the door shut sounds That's still quite good. That's okay. That's quite good. A door that's had more use than any of them. Oh! Every time I climb into a Rover 600, I always have the same feeling of, I really want one of these. And I would be really rather happy, I'd be just as happy having a really high mileage, tatty looking one like this. And the amazing thing is that 600s don't even fetch decent money when they're tidy. I must say actually, the seat does feel like it's seen better days. It's probably felt a lot better in the past. The steering wheel, which is a leather clad steering wheel, is a bit worn. The pedals, well, I mean, you can easily replace the rubbers anyway, can't you? The carpet is still there, and although it has this rug here and quite a lot of dirt on the floor, it doesn't look like it's worn out anywhere. The door cards, they're good solid cards, although these aren't original. One thing that simply does not give a toss about mileage is the headlining. And look at this headlining. I mean, obviously it's not original because it's not the right material, but even so, it's good. That's the best bit of the car. This might sound daft, but I'm glad he's brought it to me not cleaned. Notice something unusual? Yep, that's the correct time. More evidence of the repair that's been done on the rear arch, and a blanket, maybe. Have you got a dog? Right, okay, it's not because of that then. Go back to a time before sat-navs. Everybody had a map on their rear parcel shelf, like this. It just looks right to have a map on the rear parcel shelf. I always had one. Weirdly enough, I don't have one now, and I think I should. I mentioned that I had a map in the car, and then he opened it up and showed me something that I did myself. And that is to draw lines of all the roads that you've been down all around the country. But to be honest, I didn't do anywhere near the kind of adventurous mileage that this chap's done. Well, in 3 years, this is ridiculous, and all this mileage has been done in this car. Yeah, it's quite a nerdy thing to do, and I wish I'd kept mine. I mean, it would be about 30 years out of date now, but I wouldn't care. In fact, actually, the ultimate retro thing to have in your car that is, yep, nearly 30 years old, would be a map of the time. I mean, it'd be pretty useless. Roads change, but towns don't. I mean, they do change, but they don't go from one place geographically to another. We need to see what is under the bonnet of this car, and you probably already know. The Rover 600 came with a range of engines, mostly Honda 1.8, the 2 litre and the 2.3. And then they also had the 2 litre T-Series turbo. Could it be one of those? Or the 2 litre L-Series diesel. And that's it. Of course, it is the Honda engine, the Honda F-Series F20Z1, which has 130 brake horsepower, which is actually quite impressive for a single cam 2 litre of the 90s. Yeah, no twig cam here. Good sound. I think it might be quite a good idea to take this car for a drive and see what it's like. This car has been in the family for 15 years. So Robert, who owns it now, had it passed down to him, a passenger, since being 7 years old, I guess. But the reason I'm driving this now is because of its really rather impressive mileage, and just to see how the running gear and the engine and the gearbox has fared. And well, if I'm honest, I can kind of tell it's had quite a lot of use. It's not quite as secure, as steady in a straight line as a car with a lot less mileage, to be honest. But I guess you've been just used to how this goes, and now you think that all cars should drive like this, is that right? You know, there's nothing knocking. There are no lights on the dashboard that shouldn't be here, and the clock works. How does a clock work in a car of this age? Eh? How's that possible? Normally they give up working after about 8 years. Maybe it's had a replacement. Maybe the engine's been replaced. Maybe the gearbox has been replaced. I don't know. I bet the clutch has been replaced. There's no way this is an original clutch. Now, I've been instructed the best thing to do with this car is just to simply take it on the motorway, because it's not clocked up all of this mileage by being a minicab and just hanging about on the streets. It's used to being up to temperature and going along at a proper speed. Well, what is that proper speed? Is it 60 or is it 70? To be absolutely honest, I'm a little bit fearful because the steering does feel just a little bit looser than I was expecting. Here we are on the motorway, which typically is limited to 50 miles per hour. It means that this particular test isn't really going to work, because I'd happily do 50 miles per hour somewhere else. But the motorway cruising experience is a slightly different one, because you're just going in a straight line, you're not accelerating, you're trying to maintain a steady speed in order not to use up loads of fuel unnecessarily. And although it does have a looseness about it, there are no vibrations, there are no bumps anywhere, so it doesn't feel like suddenly it's going to veer off in a different direction. Not like that Nissan Cash Cow that I drove last week. Coming off the motorway, the speed limit's changed, so I can actually get a bit more speed, but not for long, because I'm approaching the end of the slip road. And if I was the passenger, I would be thinking, come on, knock it down a gear, use a bit of engine braking. And that's just what I did, actually. The engine's lovely and smooth, and the car does grip and hold the road quite well on the roundabout, which is what I've just done there. I'm not really one for abusing other people's cars, that's just not nice at all. But with this car, I might make the exception. Well, Robert, this was a really good idea of yours, wasn't it, to come on the motorway? Why did you say, oh, it's best to take it on the motorway so you get a better feel? You must have seen this. Weren't you driving in this on the way up? No. This was very much aimed at the travelling salesman, like the Cavalier, like the Mondeo of the time, but it wasn't as popular as those other cars. Yet, I think you see more of these about working than what you do either the Cavalier or the Mondeo. That's Honda for you. Pity about the rust. Having driven this for a few miles here, that the light steering is bothering me quite a bit less now, and actually I'm warming to it more than I first thought I was going to do. And that's partly because, I jump in a Rover. I always like Rovers. I'm going to like a Rover, aren't I? And so that you're expecting it almost to feel like a one with 80,000 miles on the clock wasn't really a very realistic thing to do at all. For 302,000 miles, it's actually very good. I'm sure this is going to be capable of doing 500,000. And you have no intention of getting rid of it, have you not?
No.
So it's time to draw a conclusion, to come to the end of this video where I say thank you, but also to just reflect a little bit further on the prospect of owning a car with this kind of mileage. And I just think more people should do it. More people should stop being so fussy about mileage, because it really doesn't matter. People ask really, really stupid money for cars with almost no miles. But why? Because you can't use it. I mean, you could use it, but that would make it completely pointless. So you buy yourself a car that's got 3,000 miles on it. You dare use it because all of that money that you paid for it is going to just go to waste. So you may as well just park it up and use it as an ornament. But if you're going to do that, you don't even need it to work. You may as well have one that's already knackered. You may as well have one that's got no engine in it. Or you may as well have one that's got 300,000 miles. Many cars are designed to be nice to drive, nice to look at, designed to make you feel good about yourself. But the primary function is to drive. So a car that isn't driven is a wasted car. Drive your car. So you're 22 now. When you're 50 years old, you still want to be driving this car around.
we'll see.
That's quite a long way off, isn't it? For you and the car.
I'll keep it as long as it is reasonable to keep it going.
Right, but it hasn't been reasonable to keep it going, has it?
No.
Because you've gone way beyond what anybody would have done to keep a car on the road.